Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Embrace the Face, Season 3, Episode 7. Today, I have such a special and interesting guest, Mr. Phoenix Green. Hello, Phoenix. Thank you for being here today.
Hello, how are you doing, everybody? Thank you for having me.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited. So, Phoenix and I met doing readings. We were both doing oracle
That's
readings
right.
at an event locally on Long Island. And we got to talking, and I just love the work that Phoenix does. So, I'm going to quickly introduce and then give you the stage. So, Phoenix is the owner of Green Phoenix Healing. He is a Reiki master, an oracle reader, does a lot of energy therapy, specifically now doing therapy energetically with animals, so mostly dogs. And you are a certified nutritional consultant. So, Phoenix, welcome. The stage is yours. Give a little background into who you are, what you do, how you followed your heart, how you got to where you are. And
Sure.
thank you. Thank you again.
Sure. Yeah, I mean my journey, I guess, begins in like 2010, 2011, you know. That's when I had my first awakening. That's when I was really like I had an actual visit by a spirit, and it was this great green phoenix, and it showed me that the issues and the problems that I was facing was too 3D, it was just too in front of me and not seeing the bigger picture. So it just brought me out into the vast universe, and it showed me my cosmic connections and where our elements and our minerals and where I resonate from. So I felt this connection to this phoenix energy, and ever since that, I started my business in 2015 when my father passed. It was in honor of him and everything, to help me to reborn as Phoenix Green, because I go by Charles, but Phoenix Green is the name that I was reborn into. So that led me down the path to Green Phoenix Healing, to incorporate these healing modalities, these multi facet healing modalities that I've accumulated throughout the years, with really an emphasis on energy work. And really, the first on how I did everything was to heal the healer. My thesis that I wrote for a master's program was all about healing the healer. I was like, oh well, everybody's focusing on these clients, but what about the healers? So I wrote this really beautiful program, and I found out that when I presented it to my professors and whatnot, they loved the idea, but they didn't really give me much feedback on how to write it, for my thesis. So I'm still currently trying to figure out how to write my thesis. But currently, I have everything all planned out. They were asking me millions of questions about it, which was great. But ultimately, I found out is that in order to be the healer for the healers, you have to have some clients and you have to get yourself established. So I found that the years, particularly during COVID, were really hard, and I felt that it was really hard for me to get through to people and to find these connections. So I started to shift my energy towards animals. I went to look and to try to get to the Holtzville Ecology Center to try to work with the animals, but they already had somebody there. So, and it's actually something I have to go follow up and see now. After COVID, they said come back. Um, but currently, I'm working with domesticated animals. Our dogs, some cats every now and then, but mainly it's dogs that I tend to be connected with. And I have my own dog that I've been using energy work and all these different facets of nutritional energy and finding the right minerals and whatnot. And it's just led me down to this path, beginning of really like last year, of when you have people that come and sit with pets and stuff like that and take care of pets and stuff like that. I felt there was a requirement also to give energy to the animals, and I started seeing these dramatic changes in it, where the owners would come home and say, "Did you guys run really, long today?" And I'm like, "No, I just took him around for his little walk around the block, and then we went in and I sat with them on the couch, and I found out he was missing out on a treat, or he wanted this, or there was just these little cues that we can pick up on. And our daily lives, we're so busy, we're so hectic, and my goal is to be able to slow the energy down, to show people that these cues are happening throughout our existence, and it's our responsibility to reply back to them, because they're a form of communication, and if you've been around animals, that there's no verbal language. They don't tell you, "Hi, I'm in pain," or "I want to go outside." They have to show you through eye contact, through these little cues. And I found that the more we focus on them, the more we're bringing this type of healing to these animals, because it's the I guess the withdrawal of this type of energetic approach that people tend to forget. And once they start pulling back and they start getting into that mundane, that other way of thinking, they miss these cues, and then they can have health problems and all these other things come up because they didn't know that the one ingredient that they were giving their dog. I mean, there's all these things you could do nutritional, they call it like nutritional testing,
Mhm.
and you can find out if your dog's allergic to certain things, or if they're missing a mineral or nutritional value that you can add to their diet. I found that it was just fascinating that all these animals, they seem to have one common thing, and it was, you could throw all this money on supplements and all these things, but I found energetically these animals really need that soft unconditional touch back, because as owners and stuff, we forget, sometimes we get in that conditional mindset because we're in that conditional love when we're with our partners, right? Like, most of the love I see is conditional based. Like, it's really hard to get through to that unconditional, but animals seem to just provide us with that, which is this beautiful aspect.
Yeah, I love it. They totally and fully reside in the 5D. Like there's nothing else. Only
They're masters
unconditional
of it.
love. Yeah, like and it's so funny. Like I grew up in a home where I had no pets. I had goldfish and that
Hmm.
was it, and they always died. I always won them at like the fairs, right? Like and I'd get my goldfish and then it would die a few days later, and like that was it. That's all I ever knew. So I have a 10-year-old Morkie. So she is Maltese and Yorkie.
Nice.
And we were just talking prior to recording. Like she's super high maintenance. She's getting older. Um, but I train. I'm a Reiki master as well. And
Excellent.
I trained. I want to say going back like 4 years when I got Reiki 1, and we were shown the anatomy and chakras of animals, like your dog, your
Yeah.
cat, the horses, the other. I don't remember exactly, but you know when I remember when I learned that, I was like, oh, like this, because my dog is very hyper,
Yeah.
and she cannot express herself. Now I understand more, and
There you go. See, that's great.
I love how you said like we need as humans, we need to slow down. Life
Yeah.
is about like you said, we live on Long Island, we live in New York, we're New
Yeah.
Yorkers, we're hustle and bustle. I've lived in North Carolina where like it's slow as molasses,
Hmm.
and like life is simpler. And it really does make a difference,
Yeah.
back in New York, and however living in the 5D mindset of slowing down, being energetically connected as we are to Mother Earth, to the animals, to nutrition, to so it all kind of is, comes full circle when
Yeah.
we talk about energetic healing. It's not just humans,
Right.
and I appreciate your. I can't believe that. So I have not gone back for my master's.
Okay.
I stopped my nursing degree at my bachelor's.
Wow.
So kudos to you for
Yeah.
going for your master's,
Oh,
and
and before all of this, I worked emergency medical service. I was an EMT,
yeah,
paramedic.
yeah,
My girlfriend, she's a nurse, so it's just like, well, I've lived in this whole 3D mindset of medicine,
yeah.
for so long.
Oh
And
yeah,
once I broke out, I was like, wait a minute. Like,
yep,
if I'm traumatic, I'm going to the hospital. If I'm having a heart attack, I'm going to the hospital. But if I got a cold, or if I got a scratch, or if I have some of these other things that I know I can take care of, and really emotional and mental stuff, which I felt like
yeah,
hospitals, they just focus on the physical, really. It's like you doctors looking at the physical aspect, and the same thing I found with animals too, with the vets. Like, think about this. Like, if you ever think about the age of dogs and why you need to slow things down, it's really simple. With dogs, small dogs, you have 15, 16 years usually they live.
hmm,
Medium dogs, 12, 13, 14 is really a big push for them. The big dogs, 9 to 10 sometimes. Those Great Danes, like, they don't make it out of double digits, and it's because of the breeding, but it's also because of genetics. Let's face it; these dogs are faced with arthritis. And these epidemics are happening over and over again. We're seeing arthritis in dogs. We're seeing cancer in dogs. We're seeing all of these aspects, and it's just this failure to connect, to realize, like, the dogs are such here in a short time. That means that if you give them a toxin, that means that their toxin goes in their body and they get sicker faster, right?
Yeah.
With humans, we're like, oh, well, we can keep going through these cycles, whatever, and eventually, as we get older, we get sick. If you're a healthy individual, some people aren't healthy. You get sick with an autoimmune disease or something sooner, and that whole timeline's now thrown out. Now your body's speeding up. This accelerated aging aspect when disease comes over, and we're seeing this in dogs, and you're seeing these younger dogs, living a lot longer, but we're seeing these, medium to older dogs, dying sooner from mobility issues. That seems to be the biggest thing right now is mobility issues. So their heart and everything else is fine, and they might just be good, but their mobility, they can't move around. So these people, people are putting these dogs down, unfortunately. The goal is to try to get in before all this happens, figure out what type of water you're giving your dog, which I think is probably the most important thing out
Hmm.
there. Like food, if we're getting off the kibble, which I think is good. If you have multiple dogs, I understand that the necessity for food finances and stuff like that, you're going to need to, supplement some type of good high quality kibble or something, but people that have like, I encourage people to have that one dog like I currently have, like to give them whatever you can. So I freshly cook the meals and like I portion size, and I make sure that she's getting all the nutrients. Now they're saying great reviews about blueberries. Blueberries in dogs supposedly increases their age. Because of the phytonutrients and all the different types of antioxidants that are found in the blueberries. So again, little things like this that we didn't think of back then, like we gave table scraps to our dogs. We did all these things back then because we treated the dog in that concept and that perspective. I'm trying to break that perspective. I'm trying to show people that if they really are your family member, then treat it like you would your mom or your dad, like if they got sick or if they were getting sick, you would try to do whatever you could to help them.
Aw, yeah, I love that. What would be a quick, so like for a beginner,
Yeah.
what would be a quick meal to prep for your dog?
All right, so this requires a couple different things. You need to know the size of your dog, obviously, to know portion size, But I've like to do is you can test your dog on different proteins. So they say when you supplement different proteins with dogs, particularly over protein, like if you mix pork with beef and chicken, right? A lot of that's in the fillers and a lot of the products. The dog's body doesn't know how to break down the different proteins. Like in the wild, they only usually have one kill. They're not killing all these different animals and having a smorgasbord. They're killing that one animal and they're eating the organs. They're eating all these important things that they know are vital nutrients for them. So I think the first thing is you need to figure out what your dog's allergic to, because I could tell people, oh, give them turkey, which I give, but I found that chicken she was allergic to. So I cut chicken out. But turkey, so far, she does well. She doesn't get sick. She doesn't have any issues with it. She digests it fine. But ground up, it's 99%, so it's 1% fat, which I found fats with dogs, particularly older dogs, they get pancreatitis, they get all these other issues and stuff like that. So it's important to really be aware of the nutritional, physical factors of the dog, as much as the emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of our animals.
Okay. Now, would you say when you started talking about cancer
Yeah,
in dogs, is it energetically connected in the way that humans are to cancer, like emotions
yeah.
linked to? Okay.
Absolutely. Mammals are have that unique gift is that cancer is unique, and that we find this particularly in most mammals. I mean, there are some occasions of sharks getting cancer, and other animals, whatnot, getting cancer as well. But we tend to see this more in the mammals. So with that aspect, knowing that for every aspect when you think about with cancer and animals and stuff like that, you have to consider like what nutrients are you putting in there to keep the body suffice. Now again, I can say this, you can spend thousands and thousands of dollars on nutrients and stuff for your dogs and supplements, but if your water quality isn't what it's supposed to be, that's how they're getting sick. Boom. Like in particular on Long Island, our water table is highly contaminated with
I was just
Grumman,
gonna say, I was
the
just
Brookhaven
about to say,
plume.
yeah, because you
Like
don't know Long
all of this, man.
Island.
If you don't know. And I worked for the DEC for 6 years. So I got a chance at
Oh,
the inside view. I know where all those hot spots are because I was in it. I know where they have physically seen fish kills and population density of these certain types of trout called the brook trout, which notes and determines the pH. Once that pH drops, the river system's shot. And once the brook trout's gone, there goes your river system. So all of the essential is how these animals have interacted and shown us these cues and say, listen, when we're alive and we're thriving, the environment's alive and thriving. When it's not, something's up, and that's a reminder for our own animals too. There could be contaminants in your home, and again, you could be feeding the animals, you could be doing all these great things, but if you're not taking care of those essential aspects and how the animals are picking up these toxins, then you're just supplementing really good quality foods, which is good. Their diet, they're looking great, but they're going to develop cancer, and that's unfortunate. They still haven't made that connection, and I think within the next couple of years they will. The latest breakthrough is that they came out with this injectable. It's a shot. I don't know if it's like a vaccine or whatnot, but it's for dogs, medium to large breed dogs, and it supposedly allows them to live longer. Now, I don't know what magical, protein synthesis is probably what it comes down to. Let's face it, that's usually how we learn how to live. We adjust the protein, how the body just builds protein in the body. So I'm assuming within metabolism and all these other aspects to slow the metabolism down because a dog has a very fast metabolism, usually, if they're not sick. But what I'm finding is that these things they're focusing on trying to let the dog extend longer, but not taking care of what's causing and making the dog sick. So, okay, my dog lives till 14, 15, but throughout he didn't make it because he has cancer. He got cancer at 10. It's like because he's a big dog. So I don't know how they're gonna the arthritis, like all of these main issues, what's affecting the dogs. I don't know how they're gonna tackle that in the future. That would be curious to see. But I know holistically, majority of the things I mentioned, they are treatable. I would be, very unlikely to use the word cure and healed. I'd say heal, but not healed, because you have to understand, in order to heal it, to completely bring that fruition, it takes an incredible amount of energy, time, patience, and supplements and environment. There's all these different factors that are very hard to control. We can do our best to keep them comfort, which is Reiki care. Reiki care to me is comfort care. So I've done a lot of hospice and end of life care and whatnot, and recently my mom just lost her small dog, 16 and a half. See, so he made it past that mark, but I always say it's never enough time, like I always agree that time is the most valuable thing we have at our pets. It's the shortest the lifetime that we have, with our dogs, and we've got to give them as much we can in that time, and we always figure out there's always something wish we could have done, had that last walk down to the beach, went to the walk in the woods, played with his favorite toy, like all these things. So my goal is to make sure you share those memories now and save those memories so that when the time comes, you're like, we did that already. Like I literally can look back at my dog Allie, and she's approaching that age, that 13. I know inevitable it's going to happen, but I'm happy to know that she's got the best life possible, and we are in agreements that she's going to send me back another dog. I tell her a little more cuddlier because she's a little independent, but I joke because she's been the smartest dog I've ever had the privilege of being with. She's just incredible with, like I say the word find it and all these different cues, and she knows and she goes and does all these things. So we've have this beautiful connection, and I know because of that she's gonna gift me something back when it's time for us, me and my girlfriend, to get another dog. It's gonna be that next step, be like, okay, all right, here we go, and I know she'll do that. So the goal is to just appreciate them now, because time is very limited, I found.
Aw, I love that. I think it's so important. And the whole time I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, I need to like step it up in my dog ownership.
That's what my goal is. Like, I don't judge. I just want people to step up. That's beautiful that you said that, because that's exactly the truth. It's like when I'm dealing with clients and I'm dealing with people with their dogs, and like they're always like, "Oh, I should be spending more time with them. I know I'm not a good dog owner." Oh, and I'm like, "Your dog's hearing that." And every time you say those words, the dog is saying to himself, I need to find a new place to live. Like the goal is to not let the dog
It's
find
like
a new
she's
place
trying to
to
run
live.
away every chance she can
Yeah,
get.
right. He's like, I'm out of here. Like, I could get better. Where's the Carlton? Where's the Ritz? Like, it's this,
I'd
it's
like to
this
think I'd
idea.
like to think I've done a little bit better because she used to run away and like go as far as she could and we chase her with the car. Now she'll go out the house but then she'll stop at like two houses down and just lay down on their lawn. Like she knows, okay, you can come get me now.
Enough's enough. Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
said, as they get older, their tricks, they start to realize they don't work anymore,
Yeah.
because they can't run as fast as they used to with that piece of food in their mouth. And you get up and you're like, you're not supposed to be eating that. And you're like, you got them. And you're like, I'm already, like, you be running down the block already, but I'm here now, like, because they get
Yeah.
older. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just important to pay attention now, because I think the biggest thing that pet owners have is regret. And particularly when it's that end of life stuff, like, if you're not in the room, there's all these like, studies they've done, and that the dogs, the last thing they do when they die, if you have to euthanize them, is they look to see if their owner's there, because
Oh,
that's the last image they have. Because when dogs dream now, the Harvard study they proved this, that when dogs dream, they're dreaming about their owners. How about that? Who would have thought? Like, we're spending the most time with them. They better be dreaming about us, or at least dreaming
yeah,
about the park, or at least dreaming about that dog they sniffed. Like, I think it's important for socialization too with dogs, and in particularly, it's really hard with dog parks because people just bring their dogs untrained, unsupervised, whatnot, and they're coffee chatting, and meanwhile their dogs are humping and biting other dogs and stuff, and it's just like, listen, like, I try to give my dog socialization by either bringing it to houses. Hopefully in the future we have our own space, so this way we can do all that stuff. Have people come over with their dogs. Like, because I think it's important to have that. Like, and there's certain dogs. Like my sister's dog, she's got one of those XL bullies. Nothing against the breed, I love it, but she's a house. She's a
yeah,
she's a hippo, and
yeah,
all she wants to do is jump on you. And my dog is 60 pounds soaking wet. Her dog is almost 110. So it's just like, the two differences. She's always like, oh, I'd love to have the dogs together. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. I'm like, she'll
yeah.
break my
They wouldn't
dog's hip in a
know. They
second.
don't know each
Like, it's not
other.
happening.
They don't know each other's boundaries.
Right. You got to know boundaries, and all this stuff. But what I seek for when I look for dogs, one, they're always rescued. I don't have anything that's purchased. I've never had really. My mom worked for Noah's Ark Rescue, and we always had bottle fed kittens and dogs growing up. So it's in my blood. But with that said, is that I think it's important for us to do our part, and when we do lose our furry loved one, is to spend the time to heal. No one's going to rush you, but just think about that next dog who's sitting in the shelter, who's like, I could be home on your couch, and we could start something new again. Like, the people are afraid to start something new because they feel like they're never going to equate to what they have, and they don't realize that's just the first step. Like, every step we have, every connection we have with our dogs, our loved furry ones, gives us closer to have another connection. Like, the goal is to always have an open home, so that you're inviting these animals into our home. Obviously, with finances and different things, there's reasons for us not to do that. But ultimately, it's really to be present with them, and energetically present too.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say is overall to think about our pets or the animals of the world that you would bring into your home. That if you, most people who are listening are
Mhm.
on their own little self healing or ascension journey, or they just know me. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
And but it's true. Like, think of, and most of the people I know have pets, mostly dogs. Like, we are on our self-healing journey. We're looking at nutrition and our autonomic nervous system, our gut health, our mental health, our emotional well-being, our spiritual well-being, protecting our auras and our
Hmm.
and clearing our trauma and all that negative energy.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are the same as our animals.
There you go. That's
Literally
beautiful that you said
the
that. Yes.
same, the
Yes.
same. So if you are giving your dog something and you're like, wait a second, within, an hour they're passing gas and it doesn't smell right, or they're vomiting, or
Right.
they're not acting right, like, same as humans, within 15 minutes you should identify if a food is good for you or not, like if it's healthy
Absolutely.
for you.
Yeah.
So I love this conversation. I was literally talking about this morning with a
Perfect.
friend who just
Perfect.
lost a dog that was 17 years old,
Oh,
and
see?
they
How were
just
they?
had to
Big,
put her
small,
down.
medium? What
Big
size?
dog, big dog,
Wow.
actually, yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Congratulations.
medium to big, I
Well,
guess.
what's the weight? What's the weight?
At least 100, I want
Oh,
to say.
wow. That's
Yeah.
impressive. So it's the 80 pound marker tends to be the 10. So, like, bulldogs tend to be
Okay.
between 80 and 90 pounds. They usually don't make it till 11. It's usually like
Oh, that's
10 is usually when they pass.
okay. Yeah. So she definitely like surpassed that. But he was just saying,
Wow.
he's like, I don't think that we could ever get another dog again. And
Yeah.
I get that, like that emotional. That's grief. We
Yeah.
grieve
Right.
our dogs
Right.
as we grieve our own human family and friends.
But
And
think
so
about this.
yeah,
I love that you brought this up, and every time I hear this, this is my always my reply, and people are like, "Wow, how could you say that?" Well, here's my ready. Like, when my father died, I'm not gonna go out and go get another father. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go run out and be like, okay. When people lose a child, they always say, "Oh, I'm never gonna have another child again." But yet, when they have that other child, they realize it's that beauty of life, bringing life into this world.
Yes.
is what gives them that purpose, is what gives them that sense of joy.
You still have
So
that capacity to
yeah.
love.
So when we don't have another dog, what you're not going to get a dad, but you know what? You're it's almost like you're required. It's like a responsibility for you to go out and get another dog or another animal. But of course, grief is your own timetable. So whenever you're ready, but I always tell people, like, just don't ever say you're never gonna. Just say, listen, not right now.
Right now, yeah.
And then later on in the future, when and I have an experience with my best friend. He lost his bulldog at 10. So right on the marker, and he was like blaming himself and all this other stuff. And I said, listen, it's not about that. I said, it's about the fact that you gave that dog 10 years and they only make it till 10. So you already made it to the 10. If he would have died at 4 or 5 or 3 or 2, like, I feel it's always, it's sad when you lose a dog that's, you only had for a short amount of time. But when you have more time with a dog and they pass, I feel like you have more memories to keep you going. When you don't have those memories, that's why you have that regret. So you go back and you're like, I really wish I would have left my door closed, or I wish I would have been more convenient. Like the number one reason, not the number one, I should say, but one of the reasons that dogs tend to pass at home is like chip bags. I've seen this big thing. There's an actual group on Facebook that are saying, listen, please do not leave your potato chip bags open and with your dogs laying around, because your dog will go into the bag and suffocate. And they found,
Oh,
literally have come home and found their dog suffocated. So it's like little things like this, I think, are important, that that any moment, any little thing you could leave out, chocolate, xylitol, all these things are dangerous to the dog, and your dog could potentially die. The goal is to try to do whatever you can in your life to give them the best possible life you can. And then when that time is over, have a home, you have space, you have beds, you have toys. Might as well get another dog. Otherwise, you're gonna have to donate it to the shelter. So what? So another dog that's now sitting in the shelter is playing with the toys when you could just bring the dog home. It's just a lot of work bringing all the toys and everything to the shelter. I mean, think about it. I would rather just bring the dog home to everything that's already
aw.
here waiting.
Me
Like,
too. Me too.
and and I just watched this video of this lady who did that, and she put the harness from her old dog on the new dog, and it fit perfectly. And the other dog was so happy, was like putting his nose up again, because they knew that they were healing and moving on. You see, if you get stuck and you don't bring that other dog, it's a form of non-healing. You become non-complacent. You become withdrawn from the idea of the love and the unconditional love that's coming back from these animals. Like, and I do everything in my power to support these people, that feel this way. But I really encourage, and I strongly encourage people to reconsider when the timing's right.
I love that. Yeah, thank you. I think
Hmm.
it's I don't know why I want to like go back to this. So
Yeah,
you have history in your EMT, you've done hospice. So my background is trauma and emergency medicine. I've done
yeah.
hospice nursing.
There you go.
Um, so I think, yeah, so I think the only reason I'm saying that, I think, is because like it's like that so I also was the trauma, quote unquote, trauma injury prevention coordinator. So like I
Wow.
know data wise 98%
Yeah.
of accidents are
Mm-hmm.
preventable.
Right.
So
Right.
that's that medical background, right? That anatomical background. Like you
Right.
and I understand the anatomy and physiology behind animals. We also understand the energy behind animals. We
Yeah.
understand
Mechanisms of
that that's like
injury, understanding, keeping
yeah.
them safe, like my biggest thing of mechanism of injury is the zip leashes. People love those zip leashes. They're
Oh
causing
yeah. No.
major spinal stenosis and all these other spinal injuries. And people don't think about it when you're jerking your dog back, what you're doing to them. And the chest plate, like I've seen so many injuries from these things. Don't do it. Use the
Yeah.
6-foot leash, wrap it around your body, teach your dog how to walk properly on a leash. Mine still pulls, but she's 13. Thank God she don't pull no more.
Yeah.
And I've
Mine
tried everything.
too.
I literally tried everything with her. She's a hunting dog, so when she's on, and she's never hunted with me.
She's on it,
I
right?
got her when she was 9 months, so I don't know what she did before those 9 months. But man, if she gets a sniff of anything in the yard, forget. She'll be in the house and she'll be like, "I need to go
You
outside."
said her name is Allie.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's my name. So
I know. Remember
we
that I
know
told
it.
you that when we sat down next to each other,
Yeah, we
and
don't mess around. We don't mess around.
yeah. And April 7th, I think they're doing another event. I don't know if you're.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
I'm
good.
hoping to be able to.
Yeah, 115 or 315 slot I picked just
Yes.
to
Oh,
just to
okay.
try it.
All
They
right,
yeah,
cool.
she
So yeah,
if
for
she didn't
those
send
of
you an
you,
email, if she
yeah,
happens she didn't send you an email, check your
I
email, but also send her a message, cuz I didn't never got her email.
okay, okay. I'll definitely do that. For those of you who
Cool.
are listening, that is for Eyes of Learning, which is
Yes.
a local nonprofit. It's for metaphysics, spirituality, all
Hmm.
things education. And it is April 7th at Levittown Hall.
You
So
got it.
if
Yeah.
you can go by, I believe it's from like 10 to 5, and you
Yeah.
can
It's an
go
pretty an
shop.
all day thing.
Yep, you can network, you can shop, you can get a
Hmm.
reading, and it's a great place. And Phoenix will be there.
I will. I will
So
be there 1:15 to
are you doing
3:15.
you're doing readings?
Yes, I will
All
be.
right,
Yep.
cool. So
Hmm.
definitely go by and get a reading from Phoenix. Phoenix, thank you
Good.
so much. I
No
think that
problem.
I feel like this, obviously, everything in divine timing, but this
Hmm.
has been a hot topic of conversation amongst my own like little community. So
Good.
I'm sure that people are going to get a lot out of it. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are going to be crying. But
Yeah.
if you are crying and you're listening to this, thinking about your past loved animals, just know, like, they, just like your humans, they are always with you. You can still talk to them, you can still
Yeah.
connect with them. That is a deep soul connection that is undeniable,
Hmm.
and you can always keep it alive. Energy
Yeah, I
is
always tell
eternal.
people like it's that eternal bond, that is is reawoken. Once they pass, like we just put that little space in our heart and they're there forever. And every little memory is like a little memory reel in my head. And be like, and that's why I do that. I literally like will click my eyes. So it's like a reminder, be like, I want to capture this moment right here,
Oh
right now,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that I have this
Like
now
me.
going forward. Yeah. And I really think it's so important to understand that life and death are two concepts that we have to be present. But how you get to death requires how much love you put in life. So if you put more love into your animals, right? Hopefully, with good nutrition, good proper water and stuff like that, exercise, they'll lead a healthy life. But unfortunately, accidents and everything happens. We know this. The best is just to be aware and be present and to be open and to allow ourselves to say, yeah, I'm ready to receive this love from an animal again, or I'm not ready. I need some time, whatever it is. But just to remind yourself that if you feel lonely, that might be the reason for you to open your house again.
Aw, great advice. Great advice. And it all comes down to love. Always does, right?
Yeah,
Everyone thinks we're
always does.
crazy, but it always
Yeah,
comes down to love.
it always does. And like again, like it's just a reminder. It's just like when if you are crying and you're wondering about the ones that are past, I understand. But if you currently have a dog, that's your cue. That's your moment to say, hi, I love you. I'm here for you. Like whatever it is, just appreciate the moment because their moment's shorter than ours. And it always will be. That's always how it will be. I don't think science will ever, it's never gonna be where, dogs are coming to our funeral. I used to say like unfortunately it does happen. You see military vets,
Yeah, yeah,
like other people, like you see this happening, but the goal is to be able to outlive your dog, so that you can give them the best life possible. So
yeah. I love it. Thank you. Thank you
all
so
right.
much. I will definitely
Yeah.
have you back on. Thank
All
you,
right. Yeah. We
everyone.
have
Yeah,
plenty of topics. I'm sure we can chat
I
about.
know. I'm excited.
Animals are just the important ones, though, for me.
It's just a little blip of what Phoenix does. So if you are interested in more about Phoenix's healing work with your pets or your loved ones, visit greenphoenixhealing.com. Definitely take his 4 fields and 4 alchemy tests, which are very
Oh
cool.
yeah.
I will tell
Just
you,
need a pendulum. That's it. You just need
yeah,
a
pendulum.
pendulum.
So I did
Print
the
it out.
test.
Keep it with
Yeah,
you. Use it daily. I love it. It's one of my favorite things for
yeah.
alchemy and the four fields compass. It's
Yeah, it
it's
was
so
pretty
great
on
to use.
point for me. It as I
Good.
told you, it showed me my physical body, and I got the Phoenix, the fire
Excellent.
sign. So I need to
Excellent.
focus on nutrition, which is
That sounds good. Yeah.
definitely on point for me. So thank
All
you,
right.
thank you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, and I look forward to seeing you
Yes,
April 7th. Yay!
yes. Everyone stop by. So thank you, everyone. Stop by next week for more high vibe content and interviews. Peace out. God bless.